Fact this. If you don't like the facts, take your ass back to bed. Fact this.
Fact that over the past decade, professional and college teams' names have been changing on a fairly consistent basis. And this is because the team names are considered either defensive or discriminatory or both. This, in my opinion, is damaging the history of sports. It is over the top. It is over the top, is what I wanted to say when it comes to sensitivity. And it's over the top to a fault. And if we are going to continue to censor college teams' nicknames based on what some consider discriminatory, then when are we going to include the holy grail of college football, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? One of my best friends in the world, his name's Pete Kerplevich. He played at Notre Dame under Lou Holtz, honorable mention All-American. Also played for the Detroit Lions for a couple of years and got cut by the Raiders. Big touchdown on Monday Night Football, but a very good friend of mine that I met when I was working at the Detroit Lions radio network. And Pete was Notre Dame and extremely proud of going to Notre Dame. As a matter of fact, his mother came over from Poland years ago. He was first generation born in the United States in his family. I was one of the very few people that could spell his last name. It's Kerplevich. It took up the whole back of his jersey. But, I thought, just asking him, what do you think of the moniker, the team name, the Fighting Irish? Look at the logo, people. It is a leprechaun fighting. Is that discriminatory? Would you say that would be discriminatory? I'd like to know. You can give us a call at 702-876-1340 if you want to chime in. I'll have Jared Justice put you on the air if you've got an opinion about it. I'll talk to you. But I want to know, man, is it discriminating? Look at him. You had, since you were little, have you not heard the moniker Irish people? What have you heard? What do we hear? What are the stereotypes? They drink too much? Now again, people, I'm saying stereotypes that I've heard, that I grew up hearing.
No, this is true.
They like to fight. They're leprechauns. Look at the logo of the Fighting Irish. That's not offensive. If you're a peaceful Irish person, does that bother you? The Fighting Irish. Well, it bothered people in North Dakota because they were called the Fighting Sioux. They didn't want to be called the Fighting Sioux, and actually they did. The Sioux Nation had no problem with the name. Check out the history of the Fighting Sioux in North Dakota. They're now the Fighting Hawks. Problem? I don't know. Should it bother us? I don't know. Here's what Pete had to say. I'll tell you right now. He said, my opinion is this: those teams' names are a reflection of who we are as a nation, and it honors our historical past and traditions of Native Americans. No country, especially the USA, is what it is without historical events, and I feel getting rid of these names is taking away a long and rich history of our country and those people that helped form who we are today. It is true that the Native Americans suffered, but also endured. And that is why we should keep the names to honor everything about the Native American nation. That's what he was saying when I said to him, the Indians are now the Guardians. The Redskins are the Commanders. I'm not disagreeing with that one, and I'll tell you why. The Seminoles soon will have a new name, I believe. They're talking about the Atlanta Braves. A Brave. What is a Brave?
The Kansas City Chiefs. They have a Native American logo thing.
And a Native Tomahawk, the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah.
I mean, where does it end?
Okay.
And my point is, Spencer, is this, and I'm not in any way, you want to chastise, want to call up and yell, please, by all means, talk to me. I'm not saying it. People, these names were never meant to be derogatory. They weren't meant to be discriminatory. They were meant to be team names. We're turning sports, we're bringing politics into sports and race into sports. Is there any more diversity than American sports? I'll bet you between the 4 professional sports, every country in this world is recognized in some way, shape, or form. Some people, because you're allowed in. If you're good enough to play, as long as the country you're from allows you to play in America, you can play these sports. They find you all over the place. There's a guy named Manute Bol from Sudan years ago. God rest his soul. How did they find him? How did he get to play in the NBA? It is diverse. And now all of a sudden, names of teams are a problem. Names of teams that are traditional. I don't think the Fighting Irish should change their name. But for God's sakes, if you're going to change the name of the Atlanta Braves, the Fighting Sioux of North Dakota, then change the name of the Fighting Irish and give them a new logo. They chastised the logo of UNLV, Spencer, because it was a rebel depicting the South. What does this logo at Notre Dame depict? An Irishman, a little leprechaun fighting? I have some great Irish friends. Number one, they're not little, they're not leprechauns, and they're very peaceful, good guys. I won't say they drink any more than some of my other friends. It's a stereotype. Well, so the point is, and I'm going to let you chime in because we talked about it yesterday. And the one thing you said, Spencer, is when we talked about it, is changing the names of these teams going to make the world a better place? Because if not, why are you screwing with history? Why are you screwing with tradition? As a little boy, at 10 years old, I played for the Indians in Little League in West Bloomfield, Michigan. I loved that team. I loved the uniform. I was so proud to put it on. I wasn't thinking of any stereotype or moniker. I was proud. And again, that can be offensive, Indians, but Irish. I asked Pete, and we're going to talk about this and how offensive. I said, would you be okay if they were the Fighting Poles? He's Polish. Would they be okay with that? The Fighting Jews? I'm Jewish. I can say it. Spencer, you're Jewish. Would you be okay with that? I mean, the point is I like it. It's tradition. It's history. Where does this end and when does it stop, Spencer?
Well, I agree with you that it definitely can be a slippery slope. Like, where does it end? But I don't know. I think Native Americans are a very special case because you talked about how much they suffered, but like they suffered because of us. I mean, we literally came to this land and conquered it and nearly committed a genocide, either through killing, taking land, or disease spread through Europe.
Agree 100%. But so what does it have to do with sports?
Yes, but when you see the Indians logo and you see literally a cartoonish Indian man, I mean, I can imagine that that's a little offensive because, when you look at the Fighting Irish, we don't really have a lot of history with the Irish. But I mean, it's like we conquered them. And we conquered them and then we put their logos up on our multi-billion-dollar sports teams. I can see how that's a problem. I'm not saying it is. The logo, I definitely think is. But if you want to be called after like Native American tribes, I mean, that's up for debate. I don't really have too strong of an opinion either way on that. But when I see a logo like that, that's a little offensive, I feel like, at least for me, for the Indians logo specifically.
Then changed the logo. They wanted it to do it at UNLV. Change the logo. Why the name of the team?
But you have to admit, for Indians, it's a little bit of a weird outlook. A little bit.
You want to know what made the most sense of all the teams that ever changed their names? In my opinion, I understand the Redskins. We don't need to go there. That's a direct satire on a name. I get that. Okay, I'm not. I just thought they should have stuck with the Washington football team. The Commanders sounds like a USFL team, and this is the NFL, not the USFL. But that's my opinion. But here's the one that made the most sense to me was when they got rid of the Washington Bullets. You don't have a nickname Bullets when you're you're the number one city in the country for murders. They were in Washington, D.C. for a little bit, right up there with Detroit, the murder capital of our country. So I understood, hey, we're going to watch the Bullets tonight. Well, you're in Washington, and if you don't know sports and you don't know that'd be like, what do you mean? So, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, but I did get that from day one. I like the name. I think it's a great team name. It says speedy and strong and powerful and lethal. So I like the name Bullets, but it didn't fit Washington at that point in time. But that made sense to me to change the name. Changing the name of the Atlanta Braves, Spencer, changing the name of the Kansas City Chiefs, changing the name of the Fighting Sioux of North Dakota. Why? But the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
How are they not being attacked in any way, shape, or form? And I'm going to say one thing. Is it because Irish people are white for the most part? I mean, I'm just being straight up. Is that why they're not being attacked? Because it's not really racist. Because are you kidding me? They've been scrutinized. Go look at history, Spencer. They've had their they have had their share of tyranny.
Absolutely.
Okay, so again, they're monikered as fighting people that are leprechauns. I'm sorry, man. I don't get it. I don't think it should be changed because I don't think it was ever meant to be offensive. And I think Irish people are actually have pride and take pride in Notre Dame. But what if you're not Irish? Are all the players on Notre Dame Irish? I don't think so, Spencer. Okay, so again, I just think that is my point is ridiculousness. Sorry, did I steal something? I stole the name of a television
Yeah, be
show.
careful there. Be careful
I
there.
get my copyright there, but it's ridiculous. And